What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Thank you for watching. Today we have another ammo experiment for you all. So a while back, we made a video called How Long Can Ammo Survive in a House Fire? Turns out, not very long. Well, today, we're gonna do the exact opposite and see how long ammo can survive underwater and still function. So if there was a zombie apocalypse or end of the world scenario and you came across a battlefield pickup, mags, ammo, the whole loadout, but it was in a swamp, underwater, or had been getting rained on, would it still work? Today we're gonna find out. Now, unfortunately, I do think this video will take several days to film, maybe even weeks, hopefully not, but obviously you guys will get it all in one day. Now, there's really no way for me to film this and show you guys uninterrupted. I know some people like to think jump cuts are hiding stuff, but trust me, it's for your viewing pleasure. You'll just have to take my word on this one. Maybe I can show you my cell phone every time I come out so you can see the time and date, but I have absolutely no reason to lie about this. I'm honestly hoping they fail quickly, so I don't have to come out here every day for 2 weeks, but we'll see how it goes. All right, I've brought out a Tupperware container with a lid. The way we're gonna do this is pistol, rifle, and shotgun rounds to see how they compare. We'll probably do a full box of each. That way we can shoot one round every time we come out. And if it works, we'll just leave the rest in water and repeat the process until they all fail. First up, we have the 22 long rifle. Now, this is actually a rimfire cartridge, which does not have a primer. So this one could work better than the centerfire rounds because there's only one failure point, which is where the bullet meets the shell casing. That being said, they're also the least reliable and the most finicky out of all these calibers. 22s are not to be trusted, in my opinion. Next up, we have the 9mm. This is a 115 grain target load, and I believe these primers are not sealed. It doesn't say whether they are, but it is just cheap target ammo, so I imagine they're not. I'll go ahead and do 20 of these. By the way, I'm leaving out one round from each box so that we can test fire them today, just to show you guys that they do work. Now, this is the Spear G2, which is a self-defense 9mm hollow point, and these do have sealed primers. So I've only got 8 of these. What I'll probably do is wait until the regular 9mm fail, then we'll try these and see if the sealed primers actually make a difference. So, I lost one. Next up, we have the 55 grain 223. This is just PMC target ammo. I believe these are non-sealed primers, so put the whole box in there and I'll leave one out. And then I've also got the Federal Premium V-Shock 223, which does have a sealed primer. You can probably see that purple stuff on the back. Got 6 of those. Next up, we've got the Russian steel case 762 by 39. These are lacquered cases, and there's really not a ton of variety when it comes to AK ammo. So we're just going with Russian steel case, which is what everybody has. Got 20 of those in there. And last but not least, we have the 12 gauge shotgun shell. These are just Federal Top Gun 12 gauge target loads. And originally, I thought these would probably fail the quickest because it is just a plastic shotgun shell. But now that I'm holding it, it feels pretty thick. Like, I don't think any water is gonna get through that plastic, but there is a crimp on top and a primer on bottom that might let some water in. So I don't know, I've never done this before. We'll go ahead and dump the entire box in. And that is all of our ammo. And you can see we have all of that ammo in our Tupperware container. It is kind of sad that I'm just ruining this stuff, but hopefully we get through most of it before it goes bad. I guess it's that time. By the way, it is 9:45 Monday, April 8th, 9:45 a.m. So got our water, let's do it. I really don't know what to expect. This stuff could be ruined in 5 minutes, or it might last days, I don't know. Well, I brought 2 gallons, but it looks like 1 might be enough. Maybe I'll go ahead and add just a little bit more. All right. Now we wait. Okay, I sat 1 round out from each caliber that we put in the water. So now I'll go ahead and shoot those just to show you guys that all this ammo did work before it was submerged in water. First up, CCI 22 long rifle out of the Ruger Mark IV Light. That one worked. Next up, we have the 9mm. This is the Beretta M9A3. Try to hit the steel. Okay, that one worked. And the 223, Daniel Defense Mark 18. I feel like this is irrelevant. You guys know all these work. Next up, 7.62x39. AKs always work. And the 12-gauge shotgun shell. All right, clearly all the ammo works as it should, so now we just wait. I'll probably do the first test at the 6-hour mark, then we'll jump to 24-hour increments. So, see you soon. All right, it is now about 3:45 on the same day, so roughly 6 hours have passed. We just watched a solar eclipse, which was pretty cool, and now we're gonna do our first test. This ammo has been submerged for about 6 hours, and we're gonna see if any of these work. We will start with the 22 long rifle. Again, this is a rimfire cartridge, and we're gonna shoot it out of the Ruger Mark IV Lite. All right, here we go. First one, 6-hour test. It worked, and it locked the slide back. So that leads me to believe it did have a full powder charge. Next up, we will try the 9mm. I've got the Tupperware there so you guys can see me actually pull it out of the water. This is our regular 9mm target load. Once again, shooting it out of the Beretta M9A3. Make sure I'm on camera. Try to put this one on the steel. That one worked as well. Once again, locked the slide back. So, 2 for 2. Next up, we will try the 223 target load. By the way, I am not shooting the sealed primers until the regular ammo fails, so that's why we're just shooting one of each. See if the 223 works. God, that's loud compared to the others. It worked, and once again, locked the bolt back. 7.62x39. This is the Russian steel cased ammo. I expect this to perform pretty well because this ammo is like coated in lacquer. Banana clip. Let's see. It worked, and the shell casing slammed into my truck with authority, so I believe that one was full power as well. And the 12-gauge shotgun shell, this is the one that I gave the lowest chance of survival, so let's see if it can last 6 hours underwater. Yep. All right, so at 6 hours, every single one of those passed the test, and to me, they felt like full power loads. So there was no squib loads, malfunctions, failures to eject, nothing like that. They all shot and went to slide lock. So that would be probably equivalent to like a really heavy downpour all day long because they've been submerged underwater for over 6 hours now. So I'll see you at 24. Hey guys, so I'm jumping in here to kind of let you know what's going on. Me and Luna are editing this video, and I just realized that there is over 3 hours of footage here. Needless to say, this experiment took a lot longer than I expected, and it's actually still ongoing. So the video's good, but not 3 hours good. So I'm probably gonna have to cut a lot of footage out or just rapid fire through some of the days. I'm really not sure yet, but I wanted to let y'all know that I have every single test from every day on camera, and it's basically just me doing the same thing over and over again, waiting for failures to happen. If the editing is a little bit different on this one, that's why. I'll probably just include the failures and important stuff and then cut the rest out. I know you guys are busy and no one wants to look at my ugly face for 3 hours straight. You're welcome. All right guys, day 2. It is now Tuesday, April 9th, 9:50 a.m. So exactly 24 hours have passed since we first submerged this ammo, and I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but the water is starting to get kind of a muddy yellow color to it, I assume from all the brass and copper in there. I mentioned this video idea to several of my friends, and they all said it would not survive 24 hours underwater. And now that I've seen the container, I think I might agree with that, because obviously something is happening in there. So Let's find out. First up, 22 long rifle. This is the only rimfire cartridge we have, and after 24 hours, this one looks pretty good. 24-hour test, let's see if it works. Yeah, and it locked the slide back. Next up, we have the 9mm. This is what it looks like after 24 hours. I do not see any damage. Looks like it's in pretty good shape, so let's find out. We're shooting this one out of a different Beretta M9. This is the original, so. Here we go, 9mm, 24-hour test. That felt very low power. Okay, it did not eject the shell casing. Let me pull it out here. There's the shell casing. It didn't split or break, but that was definitely not a full power 9mm. It didn't even eject the shell casing or lock the slide back. And since that happened, we'll go ahead and try our Spear G2 9mm. This one has a sealed primer, so let's see if that makes a difference. Same pistol. Okay, definitely felt more powerful. It also ejected the shell casing, but it did not lock the slide back. So that could just be coincidence, or maybe that one is also slightly affected, but definitely did better than the 9mm target round. And next up, we have the 223. This is our PMC target load, and that's what it looks like after 24 hours. I do not see any damage. I'll be honest, I am a little more nervous about the rifle rounds because they're much higher pressure. So if I see any defects, I probably won't shoot them. Daniel Defense Mark 18. I'm gonna shoot this one right-handed so my face isn't right by the ejection port. Ha-ha! It worked. Shot and locked the bolt back. Nice. And the 7.62x39. So this is actually the one that I gave the highest chance of survival because it's Russian steel-cased ammo, which is just known for being almost indestructible. But ironically, this is the only one that I see any real damage on. There's a ring around the bullet where it meets the shell casing, like it's starting to rust or corrode. And then the casing itself also has little rust spots on it. So I don't know if this one's gonna work. Let's find out. I'm also gonna shoot this one right-handed so my face isn't by the ejection port. It fired and ejected the shell casing. And the final round we're gonna test is the 12-gauge shotgun shell. Hopefully you can see that right around the primer, there is some rust starting to develop. So other than that, it looks pretty good. For this one, we're using the Mossberg Shockwave 590S. All right, here we go. Yes. That one definitely felt full power, that's for sure. So, the 9mm target load is the only one that we had any sort of failure with. It obviously did not eject the shell casing or lock the slide back, and it felt extremely underpowered. But all the others felt pretty standard, I'll be honest. So, that's the 24-hour test. I'm kind of surprised right now. I thought we would have more failures than that, but we'll try again tomorrow. And here we are, day 3. It is April 10th, 10:01 a.m. So this ammo has now been submerged underwater for over 48 hours. And you can tell when you look at it because that water is absolutely disgusting. I'll give someone $1,000 to come out here and drink it. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm gonna get a medical glove on because I do not wanna put my bare hands in that thing. And I wanna try to show you on camera what it looks like when we take this ammo out. There's definitely some rust forming on these rounds. It looks like most of it is actually just in the bottom of the water because when you take them out, some of them don't look half bad. Like that one is in perfect condition. So I don't know, 48 hours submerged underwater. Will this ammo still shoot? Let's find out. All right, we're gonna go in the same order. First up, we have the 22 long rifle, and that's what it looks like after 48 hours. Actually not bad. I see nothing wrong with this bullet. So what an underdog story it would be if the 22 won this entire test. It's possible. Let's see if it works. 48 hours. Make sure it's not a hang fire. We'll try another one because that happens with 22s quite a bit anyway. Dang it, I had such high hopes for the 22 long rifle. Okay, I don't think that that's a hang fire. We definitely got a good strike on the rim of that casing. On the outside, it doesn't look like anything is wrong with these, so I do feel safe shooting them. Yes! It did not lock the slide back, but it did eject the shell casing, and that felt like a full power 22, for sure. Interesting. I'm gonna try another 22 just to see if that first one was maybe an outlier and the rest of them are working. Nice. And that one did lock the slide back. So I think the 22 can go on to the next round because the first one is the only one that didn't work. The second and third both fired and they felt like full power loads. So 22 moves on. And next up, we have the 9mm target load. This is the one that felt very underpowered yesterday, so it probably won't work at 48 hours, but let's find out. SAR 9 pistol, see if it works. Nope. I don't think it's a hang fire, but we'll go ahead and sit here for just a second just to make sure. 5, 4, 3. Okay, that's definitely a good primer strike. So that one failed. Go ahead and try one more. It looks like at 48 hours, things are starting to get pretty finicky, to say the least. Got a fresh 9mm, same target load. Also did not work. Even at 24 hours, we had a problem with this round, so. Looks like the 9mm target load is not doing too well. That was also a good primer strike and it didn't fire. Now we will go ahead and try the Spear G2 9mm that has a sealed primer. This one did work yesterday. Yeah. It shot and locked the slide back, ejected the shell casing, and that felt 100%. So there you go. It looks like the sealed primers definitely make a difference because the target loads are completely ruined and the hollow points are still 100%. And this is where things start to get a little bit sketchy. Next up, we have the 223 target load. It looks like it's in good shape, just making sure the bullet's not loose or nothing like that. Once again, Daniel Defense Mark 18. I'm not gonna lie, these rifle rounds do make me a little bit more nervous than the handgun rounds, so. Just go ahead and shoot this one like this. Wow. That functioned and locked the bolt back and felt 100%. Kind of surprising, I'm not gonna lie. Next up, we have the 7.62 by 39. This one definitely looks the worst when you pull it out of the water. The entire thing is covered in rust. There's even some corrosion or something around the neck of the shell casing. So I actually predicted this one to win the entire thing, but I've kind of changed my opinion on that based off how they look. Go ahead and put it in my right hand, make sure I'm on camera. Okay, it fired and it felt good. The ejection of that shell casing was not normal. And here is our 7.62 by 39 shell casing. It actually split right down the neck. Hopefully you can see that tiny little crack on the top of the shell casing. So that's not good. For some reason, the water is really affecting this steel case 7.62. And last but not least, the plastic 12 gauge shotgun shells. I've noticed the primers on all of these look pretty rough after 48 hours, so. Let's see if it shoots. I have never seen anything like that. It made a little like pop sound, very quiet, and then like water or something just kind of sprayed out the end of the barrel. But that was definitely not a functioning shotgun shell. Well, the ejection port started smoking, and then when I tilted it up, all this wet gunpowder just fell out onto the bolt. You probably can't see it, I'll try and get a picture, but that one was definitely ruined. And I don't know if you can see in there, but that is the wad and the shot stuck in the barrel. So that's technically our first squib load. So I'll get a rod and see if we can push it out of there. Let's see if this one fires. Now that one worked flawlessly. I feel like that keeps happening. We get one failure and then the next one works. So it's like we're down to a 50% chance that this ammo will actually go off. I'll try one more. Straight out of the water, rusted primer just like all the others. That one felt great. What the heck is going on? Maybe the first one was just a fluke. Not a fluke, it was definitely ruined, but I'm doing one more. If this works, the shotgun shells are moving on. Straight back in the water. Man, all right, so there it is. That one fired. All three of those fired, honestly. And they felt great. It was just that first one that didn't, so. Shotgun shells are moving on. I would say they passed the 48-hour test. We just had one failure out of 4 rounds. Not bad. All right, guys, that's the 48-hour test. I expected more failures, I'll be honest. It looks like the 9mm target load is the only one that's completely out of this experiment. It didn't even last 24 hours, honestly. It barely worked yesterday, and then today it wouldn't fire at all. So we'll get that one out of there. We still have the 9mm hollow points, and I think all the others can move on to the next round. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. All right, guys, day 4. It is Thursday, April 11th, 10:17 a.m. We started this Monday morning at 9. So this ammo has been submerged underwater for over 72 hours. As you can probably tell, it's raining outside today, so we're gonna try and do this quick. And I should probably show you real quick, the water is even muddier than it was yesterday. You almost can't see through it at this point. And the ammo is getting a lot rustier too. 22 long rifle. Yesterday we had one fail, and then we had a couple of them that still worked. So we'll see what it does today. Same pistol, Ruger Mark IV, 72 hours. Did not fire. Got another one. That one fired and locked the slide back. We'll go ahead and try a third one for the tiebreaker. It worked and locked the slide back. This is crazy. Next up, we got the 9mm. We'll go ahead and skip the target load and go straight to the Spear G2. These are the ones with sealed primers, and yesterday they still work. SAR-9 pistol. Still working. Next up, we have the 223. This is the target load. We'll go ahead and try these first. Daniel Defense Mark 18. I'm gonna hold this one out away from me a little bit. It worked, but did not lock the bolt back. It felt good though. Next up, we have the 7.62x39. You can see all that rust around the rim of the shell casing. This is the one that split yesterday when we shot it, so let's see what happens. Definitely gonna hold this one out away from me a little bit. Hopefully you guys can still see it. Fired. I might have lost the shell casing. I just heard it go by my truck. Okay, there's the shell casing. That one did not split. It looks pretty much perfect. And the 12 gauge. This one looks pretty rough. I'll be surprised if it works, but they did yesterday. Let's see. Man. Okay, there's the shell casing. I am shocked. So obviously the 9mm target load is no longer in the experiment. We eliminated that one yesterday, but other than that, every single one of those is still working at 72 hours underwater. Not what I expected. All right, that's the time and date. Wednesday, April 17th. So it's been over a week, and this is what the ammo looks like. I went ahead and skipped a couple days because it looks like this ammo is sealed so well, the powder is not gonna get wet until the bullet or shell casing gets ruined. And I did not think we would be here over a week later. So This video is gonna be so long. All right, 22 long rifle. I'm visibly aging as this test goes on, so I'm gonna try to rapid fire through these. Same pistol. See if the 22 works. I can't believe this. Worked and locked the slide back and felt perfect. What the heck is going on? 9mm hollow point, Spear G2 with the sealed primer. See if this one works. Am I the only one that's surprised by this? And once again, we'll use the sled for the long guns. We'll start with the 223. This is the 55 grain target load, and it's amazing how good these look after 9 days underwater. Let's see if it works. Okay, the round is chambered. Let's see if it fires. 3, 2, 1. Well, it fired and locked the bolt back, and our shell casing landed right here. So about where you would expect it to go, and that shell casing is in perfect condition. I just keep expecting this ammo to fail, and it's obviously not happening. And next up, we've got the 7.62 x 39. To my surprise, this is definitely the one that's aging the worst. Okay, the round is chambered. I'll be honest, this is the main reason I'm using the sled, because I do not like the look of the 7.62. So let's see what happens. 3, 2, 1. Okay, that one also fired and ejected, and then I found the shell casing laying on the ground about 15 feet away. So ejection looks good. There are no deformities, no cracks. The finish is coming off of the shell casing, and it's obviously covered in rust. But aside from that, it looks good. So despite the 7.62 not looking great, it's still functioning, which is all that matters. And last but not least, we've got the 12 gauge. You can see how rusty the brass is on that shotgun shell. And these are made out of plastic, so surely it's gonna fail at some point. All right, the 12 gauge is loaded up. Last time it threw the gun off the table, so let's see if it fires. Nope, we got a click, no bang. And there's the primer strike. It looks extremely light, so I wonder if the water is causing things to fall out of place a little bit, because it looks like the firing pin couldn't really reach it. Let's try another one. 3, 2, 1. Another dead primer. Go ahead and try another one. All right, that's 3 in a row that did not work from the 12 gauge. All right, attempt number 4. Looks like the 12 gauges might be ruined. All right, obviously the 12 gauge did not work, and one thing I noticed is the primer strikes on all of these look very light. So I grabbed a shell casing from one that did fire, and you can see how deep that primer strike is, whereas this one looks like it was barely touched. So I don't even think the gunpowder's getting wet. I think it's just loosening up components and moving stuff around, because it looks like the firing pin was not able to reach those primers. So we'll eliminate the 12 gauge and say it lasted 7 days, 1 week underwater. Not bad for a plastic shotgun shell, and then all the others can move on to the next round. I'm probably gonna skip 5 or 7 days before I come back out here, or else I'm gonna run out of ammo before long. So I'll see you then. All right, it is Monday, April 22nd, 2:53 p.m. So we are at exactly 2 weeks since we started this test and first submerged this ammo. First up, we got the 22 long rifle. I cannot believe how good these look after being underwater for 2 weeks. Let's see if it fires. Make sure I'm on camera. Still going. 9mm Spear G2. I've only got like 3 of these left, so we'll see how long they last. The primer is completely black on that one. Don't know what that means, but worked and locked the slide back, and we even heard that one hit the steel target, so the bullets are still accurate. Okay, I'll go ahead and show you what the ammo looks like. It looks pretty much the same as the last time we were here. Maybe there's a little bit more rust. Some of the ammo is definitely in worse condition though. Check that one out. That's a 7.62 x 39, completely covered in rust. And next up, we got the 223. Round chambered. I predict it will probably fire. 3, 2, 1. Perfect. Okay, it fired, ejected, and locked the bolt back. And here is the shell casing. It looks absolutely perfect. And next up, we got the 7.62 by 39. I don't know if you guys can see that, but this one is looking pretty rough at this point. The steel is definitely aging worse underwater than the brass, but it is an AK round. Let's see if it still fires. AKs are notorious for working even when they shouldn't, so let's see what happens. 3, 2, 1. Unbelievable. All right, the AK fired and ejected, and there is the spent shell casing. Hopefully you can see all the rust on that thing. But surprisingly, there are no cracks, no deformities. It looks absolutely perfect. So that's the 2-week test. All 4 of these are still working. We'll try again next week. All right, it is Tuesday, April 30th, 11:30 a.m. So it has been over 3 weeks since we first submerged this ammo. Let's see if it still works. 22 long rifle, surprisingly in good shape for being underwater for 3 weeks. Ruger Mark IV, same pistol. Let's see if it fires. Click. Let it sit for just a sec. Go ahead and grab another one. This one looks about the same. Most of the brass shell casings look pretty much perfect, so. Try another one. Okay, that one also clicked. We might have reached our failure point for the 22 long rifle. Okay, I'm gonna try one more. This one's a little bit rusty, but still not bad. If this fails, we'll go ahead and eliminate the 22 long rifle. Make sure I'm on camera. And it did not fire. Okay, definitely getting good primer strikes, or rim strikes, whatever you want to call it. And it looks like the water finally got to the gunpowder on the 22 long rifle. So 3 weeks. So the 22 worked at 2 weeks and did not work at 3 weeks. So we'll just go ahead and say 2 to 2.5 weeks underwater is how long the 22 long rifle lasted. Very impressive, if you ask me. And next up, we've got the Spear G2 9mm with the sealed primer. And look how rusty that primer is. I've only got 2 of these left, so if they keep working, we might just have to call it. I didn't have a ton of these when we started, but let's see if it fires. I figured it would, and as you can see, it locked the slide back. And if you're curious, this is what the water looks like at 3 weeks. It really hasn't changed that much in the last couple weeks. Some of the ammo definitely looks worse, but the water looks about the same. Rusty, nasty mess. And we got the 223. Kind of shocking how good this round looks after being underwater for 3 weeks. Let's try it. I predict it's gonna fire. Let's see. 3, 2, 1. Fired, and we hit the steel. And there's the shell casing. It's hot as hell, but it looks absolutely perfect. And I don't know if you saw the ejection, but that also looked good. So at 3 weeks, the 223s are still going. And the 7.62 by 39. Not only do we have rust where the bullet meets the shell casing, but there's also a ring of rust around the shoulder of the shell casing. So these look terrible. If I were to find these in like a battlefield pickup, I would not trust this ammo. But it is Russian 7.62, so it'll probably work. Let's see. Okay, I'm really curious to see what the shell casing looks like after we shoot this one, if it fires. 3, 2, 1. It fired, and I saw where the shell casing went. Let's check it out. Okay, obviously it fired and ejected the shell casing, and here it is. Miraculously, there is no damage to this shell casing whatsoever. You can definitely see some wear around the shoulder and obviously all that rust, but it stayed intact. All right, at 3 weeks, another one bites the dust. The 22 long rifle is no longer in the experiment. We still have the 9mm, the 223, and the 7.62 by 39. So the next time we're out here, it will be 1 full month that this ammo has been underwater. I'll see you then. All right, guys, it is Tuesday, May 7th, 12:53 p.m. So it has now officially been an entire month since we submerged this ammo underwater. I mean, the seasons have changed, for crying out loud. So we have 3 calibers still going, 9mm, 5.56, and 7.62. We'll see what happens today. We got the 9mm Spear G2. This one is finally starting to get some rust on it, but other than that, it looks pretty good. So unfortunately, this is the last 9mm that I have. Obviously, I didn't expect these rounds to survive an entire month, so let's see if it works. SAR-9 pistol. It fired and locked the slide back. Next up, we have the 223 target load. You can see that one is also starting to get a little bit of rust on it, but overall, it looks pretty good. And that's one advantage brass has over steel that I never really thought of. Clearly, the steel-cased ammo is way more prone to rust, so. All right, guys, 1 month underwater. Let's see if it works. 3, 2, 1. Flawless. And there is the spent shell casing. It looks pretty good, no cracks, no deformities. I will say it ejected a little weaker than normal, and that one did not lock the bolt back, but it fired. And the 7.62 by 39. This one clearly looks to be the most compromised, and they have throughout the entire test. Look at all the rust and corrosion on the neck of that shell casing. But it's a 7.62, so I assume it will probably work. Okay, rounds chambered. 7.62 by 39, rusted and corroded underwater for a month. Let's see if it fires. 3, 2, 1. Unbelievable. Well, that was probably one of the better ejections that I've seen out of the AK this entire experiment. But I found the shell casing, and you can see, hopefully, that it did crack on the neck of the shell casing. So it looks like the rust and corrosion is starting to break down the metal. All right, well, firing once is impressive considering the state that this ammo is in, but these rifles are obviously designed to shoot multiple rounds. So I've got 3 in the magazine. Let's see if it can get through all 3 without a malfunction. That's the real test. Hopefully the rifle stays put. Got a click on the first round. Interesting. I believe that's the first 7.62 malfunction that we've had the entire test. I'll give it a minute just to make sure it's not a hang fire, then we'll check it out. All right, I think I know what happened. If you look at the primer strike, it was definitely a good one, but hopefully you can see how recessed that primer is in the shell casing. So, similar thing that happened with our 12 gauge shells. The water and rust and corrosion is causing the components to loosen up. So when the firing pin hit the primer, it kind of shoved it into the shell casing rather than igniting. So let's try it again. Okay, the first one was a dud. Let's see if the other 2 work. That one worked. And that one worked. Miraculously, I just hit 2 plates off the Texas Star using a string and not even aiming. Those plates are not rifle rated, by the way, so that's not good. The other 2 work. That one worked. And that one worked. Well, clearly it cycled, and I found the shell casings. They're obviously rusted like crazy, but neither one of these cracked or deformed at all. They look pretty good. All right, guys, I think I'm gonna go ahead and call this video right here, at least part 1. I will leave the rest of this ammo underwater, and maybe I'll come back in 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, and we'll see how long it lasts. But I think for part 1, a whole month underwater is a pretty dang good test. I actually started this experiment just to see if live ammo could hold up in bad weather, like heavy rain, flooding, etc. And I think we learned pretty quickly, weather is not gonna ruin your ammo. This stuff is very waterproof. So this is what we have left in our Tupperware container. And obviously if I kept going at this pace, I would run out in just a few weeks. So one thing I want to point out is for rust prevention and longevity, these nickel-plated shell casings are definitely the best. I mean, you wouldn't even know that round had been underwater for a month if I didn't tell you. It looks brand new. Whereas all the others, even the brass-cased 223, are starting to rust. And then of course, the steel case 7.62 are by far the worst. So, kind of an interesting fact. Let me know in the comments if you would like to see a part 2 on how these rounds hold up over several months. But I think a month is a good place to stop. It's unlikely that you would ever need your ammo to be more waterproof than that. And honestly, at this rate, I would not be surprised if those nickel-plated 223s survive like a year. They literally don't look compromised at all. So, hope y'all enjoyed it. Hopefully it wasn't too repetitive and monotonous. Again, I did not think this test would take that long, but here we are a month later, and these rounds are still firing. So, hope y'all enjoyed it. If you did, let me know down in the comments. As always, hit the like button for me, guys. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.